Freedom Fighters, I'm back with another one. Well, I'm coming at you from the van today. Been working on it here and there, trying to get this thing together so I can, get back on the road and do some camping trips and stuff this spring. And it started pouring, kind of a, rainy, dreary day. But I like days like this, so it's kind of cool. And then, these are times to sit and ponder about things. And, I was thinking about stuff and, there was a couple topics I wanted to touch on, but, I figure I'll pick up where I left off on the last video, because if I stretch it out too much and do videos in between, it really won't make sense. So, yeah, the last video I did was where did we go wrong? And, I talked about points in American history and tried to figure out, where did we go wrong? And the question towards the end of there is, well, this is where we're at now. So where are we headed? And, I've made tons of comments on YouTube where I tell people, basically just warnings of get prepared, man. What's coming? I don't think a lot of people are ready for it. And people always ask me, well, what is it you think that's coming? So that's what this video is going to address. It's going to be where we headed. And hopefully the audio is all right on this one, because it is raining pretty hard. But we'll see. But yeah, so where are we headed? Have you ever seen the movie Idiocracy? I think it's done by the Beavis and Butthead creators. It's a comedy, but when you really look at it, it ain't all that funny when you're actually living it. But that's pretty much where we're at. It's the beginning stages of that. But basically what it turns out is, the lowest denominator, or the lowest quality of people are having all the children. So, you got your, your third worlders are breeding like rats. You got your, trailer park, people in the ghettos, all that. They're the ones breeding like rats, having all the kids. And then it skips forward, I don't know, a couple hundred years or something, and everyone's just a freaking idiot. And no one knows how to do anything. And in the background, in all these scenes, there's planes crashing and explosions in the background, and, everything's falling apart. And that's where we're at. We got bridge collapses and, the East Palestine chemical spill. You got record train derailments, the food plants going up in fires, the infrastructure fires, planes falling apart in midair, doors falling off and windows. So that's pretty much, where we're at, not even really where we're headed. But I'm going to kind of split it up into short-term, long-term kind of stuff. But also what's going to happen, inflation and going into hyperinflation. It's only going to get worse, folks. And, I'm not going to dive too deep into that. I'll do a future video, specifically on that. But, it's going to keep getting worse. Things are going to get more and more expensive. And you're not going to be making any more money. And it's going to lead into rising crime. And already, we're at, in certain levels, areas of the country, are record level crimes. And, there's the little crimes everywhere. Scams are just run amok. All these phishing emails and stuff you get, and phone scams. And I'm not talking about the, stupid ones. The, hey, good news, I'm a Zimbabwe prince, and if you send me $500, you have a long-lost relative here that left you his Zimbabwe fortune. But, these things are getting more sophisticated, and, these robocalls and stuff are calling on numbers that are recognizable to you. Either your work phone or family members or something like that, and you pick it up, and, they're installing malware, stuff on your phones, and charging you, for the time that you talk to them, all kinds of stuff. Record robbery reports. My friend actually had his shed raided, a couple weeks or months back, and they took a bunch of tools and stuff like that. You got people cutting off catalytic converters and stuff like that. Houses getting broke into, stripped of their copper, the piping and all that stuff. And I mean, heck, they can just steal your house now. The recent topics of the squatters' rights, which is just absolute idiocracy right there. And you got illegals bragging on TikTok about how they can just move in and steal your home, and all that. And they actually had a news crew follow this one lady, New York woman, who went in there to go confront the squatters. And they end up arresting her. So, I mean, that just lets you know where we're at. And, I mean, all this stuff is just out of control. And I remember watching a Full Spectrum Survival video one day where he said he was talking to some cop friends he had or something, where they were saying the best thing you can do now is have somebody at home at all times. Because they're just getting record reports of people snooping around properties and stuff like that. And, I've dealt with some of that myself. And it's getting really bad, and people are checking stuff out, and they're snooping around, and they're looking for, an easy take or something. So I mean, and then they're going to arrest you. I mean, we're pretty much like at Europe levels now. There is no defense. And, people, like I said, people are either you're a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad, a spouse is staying home, but you can't even do that anymore because, you got to make money. You're so, strapped for cash and the ability to keep up with the cost of living these days, but people are taking in, a brother-in-law or, moving in, families are moving together, so someone can be home. But again, if you're in New York, what are you going to do? You can't defend yourself. So what if you were sitting in the house for your sister, and make sure that no one squats in her home while she's getting ready to sell it, and then someone comes in there and tries to take it over, and, they charge you or something with a machete, and you blow them away, you're still going to prison in New York. They're not going to allow that. It's full-on clown world, and this is what I wanted to get to with one of the topics I was going to talk about was, this whole Trump and praising Jonathan Diller, this cop that got killed in New York, who was probably enforcing gun confiscation. No one wants to talk about that. They didn't release the footage or anything, how that all went down. So, I'm really going to withhold my comments until, that ever comes out. But at the end of the day, that's probably what he was doing. And, it's like Trump's out there. We love our New York police. And I don't know if you saw this campaign video that he put out of this Trump truck with the thin blue line flag hanging out the back and Biden hog-tied in the trunk. And they made a big old, fuss about it. And it's like, dude, if you had him hog-tied in the back of your truck and you're praising the thin blue line, you think the police are going to allow you to do that? No. They are coming to arrest you. They're coming to kill you is what they're going to do. But man, people on our side are so delusioned. Their love with the police just blind them to any reality. The police are the ones enforcing all this stuff. Again, if that lady in New York were to do anything to those precious squatters, and they're illegals, the police, Jonathan Diller would have been there to evict you and kick you out of your own home. So yeah, that's pretty much what it goes with that. One of the other topics I was thinking about is snitch culture. Videos have been going around of cops going door to door, offering cash rewards like, hey, do you know anyone? Do you have any tips that we might need to go check somebody out? It's the new version of see something, say something. And they just want, everyone snitching on each other. You got the that Fed video going around now where he comes up to this lady's door and says, "Oh yeah," she's like, "Well, don't I have a First Amendment right?" And he's like, "Are you coming here for my post on Facebook?" And he goes, yeah, in his quotes, "Oh yeah, we go all day, every day, checking on people for their Facebook posts." So, I mean, there you go. They pretty much admit it. And supposedly she was like a Muslim. And again, people on our side, I saw some people actually praising it. Like, oh yeah, she needs to be looked into and all this. And this is exactly how we got the Patriot Act. People are like, as long as it's them. And I did a video like this called I Wouldn't Wish That on My Worst Enemy. And if people don't like a certain group, they're like, yeah, strip them of their rights, tap their phones, watch their social media, all this stuff. Yeah, their rights be damned, but go get them, boys. I don't want to strip anyone of their rights. And my answer has always been nationalism. If a people are too dangerous and they can't mesh with your culture, then they shouldn't be here. You should not be living amongst your enemy. Your enemy shouldn't be living amongst you. It's that simple. But once you say it's okay to have them here, and you give them American citizenship and all that, then all their rights are intact. They have it all. So that lady can have firearms. She can say what she wants on social media. She can do whatever she wants. And it goes back to the snitch culture, the point I was getting to. Who do you think snitched on her? Probably one of her Israeli friends on her Facebook, one of her co-workers or something. Said, this lady's getting really radical there on social media. Or she probably wasn't even getting radical. I mean, I don't know what she said, but it doesn't matter. And when you have all these factions of people occupying the same country, it's just not going to go well. And I was getting to that, I think, in my Open Borders video, was the point I was trying to get across. I remember after I made that video, I watched, I think it was Viking Preparedness video that said, a message to the Jews. And he laid it out so much better than I did. And it was basically like, you vote Democrat, like 80-20. And you vote for this unlimited immigration and firearms laws and all this. Well, this is you reaping what you sow. You wanted to bring in the whole third world. You wanted to bring in and then disarm the population. Well, this is what you get. So yeah, the next stage is going to be tribal warfare. Because everyone's going to be like, well, these guys snitched on me and, this and that. A Muslim snitched on an Israeli, or a black on a white on a black, and on an Asian, a Hispanic. And everyone's going to turn against each other, and it's going to get to tribal warfare. Once again, nationalism will win in the end. Because, you have all these warring factions with each other. But of course, there's going to be a protected class. And I'm pretty sure I've talked about anarcho-tyranny before on this channel. But that's basically when, a certain class can do whatever the hell they want and get away with it. I saw a video a while back of, a white guy, presumably a white guy at a park. And he was telling some Hispanics, go back to your country. And he got a hate crime for that. And I mean, what happened to free speech? Now, while I'm not advocating for you to say that to people, I mean, you have the right to say what you want. And then on the other hand, you remember when those black girls, or I think there was a guy too, they were all smoking blunts on Facebook Live, and they kidnapped an autistic kid, and they scalped them on Facebook Live, and I think they got like probation or something. I mean, there's tons of cases like that. I saw another video where this guy came across some, illegals. They've got all these roadside, selling shirts and flowers, and it was like a fruit stand, and he flipped the table over and, was like, get the hell out of here. And they charged the guy, for disrupting whatever, destruction of property or something. There's your beloved police again. They are on the woke side. They are on the side of shipping in the illegals, and they can't be touched. And if you touch them, you're going to prison. And then meanwhile, they're shutting down lemonade stands that a little kid puts up on the side of their, suburban neighborhood. And they said, well, you don't have a business permit for that. Which that's going to increase too. Now they're going after $600, Venmo payments or PayPal, or, they want to make sure they know every single penny that you earn. But, the illegals and everyone else, and they're loading up with $10,000 debit cards and paying for hotel stays and everything else. And again, it's just all going to get worse, which is going to lead to, just people taking it into their own hands, and they're not going to care anymore, which is going to lead just to further societal collapse and ultimately leading to disarmament. They're going to say, it's just too dangerous. And there's going to be, I've been saying it for a while, there's going to be Ruby Ridges and Wacos all over this country. We recently saw the Brian Malachowski guy, the guy working at the airport. And they're just going to start, the Gestapo is just going to Gestapo. They're going to start kicking down doors and putting bullets in heads like they did to Brian. And you don't see them doing that in Chicago, right? Because there's tons of people selling guns, over there. But again, I did a video before, I think it was Reno May's video, where he's talking about being dangerous. I said they don't fear, in our community, they always use the term the law-abiding citizen. And, why are they targeting the law-abiding Americans? Because you're not dangerous. They don't fear you. They're not going to go into O Block or in the Bronx or the Queens, and mess with them, because they shoot. They shoot back. Well, Brian also shot too, but I don't know if he knew who was coming in. I think he thought it was just a robbery. But, when you get Ruby Ridges and Wacos, what was the response to that? You got the OKC boom event. And, that's what the second Civil War looks like. A lot of times people say, what's it going to look like? They're going to draw the lines. It's not going to be North and South again. It's going to be back and forth, tit for tat, out of control, just violence from all angles. And again, it's good. People are going to beg for normalcy. It's going to get so bad, they're going to beg for normalcy. And they're going to take the firearms and all your freedoms. And the people who don't submit are going to be declared enemies of the state. You and I, the freedom fighters, will be the new enemy. I did a video of that too. We are the new T-word. Got a big truck coming up here right now, so I don't know if you'll be able to hear that. But yeah, that's basically going to be leading into the police state. Long term, they're trying to push World War III. We know that. You're going to have, when I talk about dissent and stuff like that, you saw Gonzalera. That's what they're going to do, man. They're going to be hunting down people that don't go along with the agenda and that speak out against it. Again, us freedom fighters, we are going to be the enemy. And it's going to be Minority Report. They're going to bring out the CBDC, the social credit system. They're going to lock it all down. And, they're pushing for this war for depopulation. And, that's pretty much what it is. I hate to be the person to paint this dark, dreary picture for you, but it's just that kind of day. I was sitting here, like I said, working on the van and thinking about this stuff, and I was like, yeah, that's going to be the next part of the video. But, the other thing is we all just submit, which is kind of also looks like where we're going. And that's kind of where they're leading us. And I might do another part 3 to this video. Because there's another angle, or there's another way this can go. But I'll talk about that later, man. I think I'm going to leave this here for now. But, yeah, man, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. And until the next one, you know what I always say. We are on our own. No one's coming to save us. So get right with God, because only God can save you. Freedom Fighters out.